Okay, so let's talk finally about chest to back attacks. Okay, we talked a little bit about the three different postures that my partner can take. Number one is the turtle, which is probably the single most common one in jiu-jitsu. The second one is ref position. Again, more athletic than turtle, but no defensive hands. Very common in wrestling. And the third one is the quad pod. Again, very conductive to standing back up, conductive to circling, very athletic position. Okay, we have to have answers for all of these positions. As a general rule, we can frame this three positions as a dilemma. So what do I mean by that? We said that we talked about this already a little bit. We can go deeper now. As a general rule, the more your partner stays on his elbows, the harder it will be for you to hit guillotines, because now he has two defensive hands. It's not impossible to hit a guillotine. Of course, you can strip the hands, you can fight the hands, you can misdirect and eventually get a tap, but it's going to be harder. As a general rule, the more your partner is on his elbows, the harder it will be to get guillotines and the easier it will be to go behind. The reason is very simple, because although he has defensive hands, he is in a very unathletic position. He's 0% mobile. So the more your partner stays on his elbows, the more I'm looking to go behind my partner. The more your partner stays in a ref position, the harder it will be for me to go behind. Again, not impossible, it can happen, but it's going to be harder, because whenever I try to block the elbow, he can start catching me, he can start bumping me forward, we end up in a dogfight. I shoot again, and then I try to go behind, he circles into me, a circle, and then it's just much harder to go behind. This, very common in wrestling, comes with a very, very high cost. The fact that now he has precisely 0 defensive hands, so more traditional jiu-jitsu attacks like guillotines will work much, much better. The third one, which is the quad pod. Now, you don't see this quite as much in jiu-jitsu, although especially no-gi jiu-jitsu, you're seeing this more and more because there's more integration with wrestling techniques. Now, he is very athletic. An athletic person from here can circle quite well. It's going to be fairly hard for you to pin your partner chest to back, as it were. It's going to be fairly hard to get a guillotine here, because although he doesn't have any defensive hands, he can start tucking his chin in his chest, making it difficult for you to get a purchase underneath the neck. And if you drop to bottom position, he has so much height that he can start shrugging you and whatever. There's lots of sweat involved, and you might just end up losing top position. So it's going to be fairly hard to go behind. Not impossible, but fairly hard. It's going to be fairly hard to get a tap, but it's going to be much easier for you to go into a different kind of short offense, which is a leg tackle. Come up here. It's going to be much easier for you, come up, to go and start attacking the legs. Cross, a straight ankle, cross, cradle, double leg, single legs. We're going to look at this more in depth later on. So this is the general outline of what you try to achieve. Of course, in any of these positions, you always have the option to just return your partner, kind of knock him down a level. So from turtle, there's not going to be much knocking down, because he's already, it's going to be harder. It's going to be impossible, rather, for you to bring your partner belly down from here. It's just never going to happen. But if he rises to ref position, you can just mad return him. That's a great solution. If he rises you to quad pod, sure, you can mad return him with the chest lock, which is the best case scenario, but you can also mad return him here. All of these things are possible. You can always force your partner to go back one step, but understand that against a good opponent that knows what he's doing, it's going to be fairly hard to mad return in a sort of very, very easy fashion. The best way to go about doing that is to exploit the intrinsic weaknesses of each position.